Welcome back to One Chapter at a Time, the podcast where we dive into the heart of writing and story structure. I'm your host, Joanna St Amour, and today we're going to explore one of the most essential elements of storytelling, creating deep, emotionally complex characters. If you've been paying attention to recent trends in literature, you've probably noticed a shift. Readers are craving characters that feel real. They want to feel deeply connected to the protagonist and walk with them on their journey. And that means, as writers, we need to elevate our character development to meet that demand. Today, we'll discuss how to build psychologically rich, morally ambiguous characters that captivate readers and make your story unforgettable. Whether you're crafting a protagonist who struggles with difficult choices or a character who faces personal demons, this episode will offer some valuable insights on how to achieve that depth. Let's dive in. Section 1. The importance of emotional complexity. First things first. What does it mean for a character to be emotionally complex? Simply put, it's about creating a character who feels like a real person, someone who has layers, contradictions, and emotional depth. Gone are the days of one-dimensional heroes or villains. Today's readers want to connect with characters on a deeper level, which means they need to see the characters struggle, evolve, and make tough choices. A character's emotions should drive the plot and their development. But here's the key. The emotional journey of your character is just as important as the physical journey. If you can create a protagonist who resonates with your readers emotionally, they'll invest in the story, not just for the plot twists, but for the internal stakes as well. So how do we achieve this emotional complexity? Section 2. Start with psychology. The foundation of any emotionally complex character is their psychology. To make your characters feel real, you need to understand why they act the way they do. And that comes from diving into their past, their fears, their desires, and their internal struggles. Ask yourself questions like, what happened in their past that shaped their current emotional state? What are they afraid of? What do they crave? And what are they willing to sacrifice to get it? What core beliefs do they hold? And how do those beliefs clash with their actions? Let's take a moment to consider a character from a book or movie you love. Why does that character stick with you? It's likely because their emotional journey is tied to their psychological makeup. Maybe they're haunted by a past mistake, or they long for something they can't have. That struggle, rooted in psychology, is what makes them compelling. Section 3. Introducing moral ambiguity. One way to deepen your characters emotionally is to introduce moral ambiguity. Perfect heroes and villains might seem appealing on the surface, but they don't offer much for readers to latch onto. Moral ambiguity is all about creating characters who face tough decisions where there's no clear right or wrong choice. This can make your character more relatable because real life is full of grey areas. Think about it. We've all been in situations where we've had to choose between two equally difficult options, or we've done something we regret, even if it seemed justified at the time. By giving your characters these moral dilemmas, you allow them to explore those grey areas, making their journey more emotionally charged. For example, in the classic novel Les Misérables, Jean Valjean's decision to steal bread to feed his sister's child is morally questionable, but we understand why he does it. This moral complexity makes him a character we can root for, even if his actions aren't always good. Section 4. Showing, not telling. How to reveal depth. Now, let's talk about how to show that emotional complexity. One of the most effective ways to reveal depth is through showing, not telling. Instead of saying John was afraid of rejection, show us that fear through his actions, dialogue, and internal thoughts. Does he avoid vulnerable situations? Does he push people away before they can get too close? By demonstrating his fear through his behavior, you make the emotion feel more authentic. Also, remember, people are multifaceted. Your character doesn't just act a certain way because of one emotion. Often they're experiencing a mix of conflicting feelings. For example, a character may love someone deeply, but also feel resentful towards them because of past hurt or jealousy. Showing these conflicting emotions creates richness and depth. Section 5. Flaws and growth. The power of change. Characters who remain static are often forgettable. Your readers need to see your character change, whether that change is for the better or worse. Flaws are where your character's complexity truly shines. No one is perfect, and your protagonist should have internal battles that reflect that. They might struggle with anger, insecurity, or selfishness, but that doesn't mean they can't also be kind, loving, or courageous. It's the evolution of these flaws that keeps readers engaged. How does your character overcome or succumb to their weaknesses? How do their actions in the story reflect their growth or lack thereof? A character's journey is ultimately about overcoming internal obstacles, and this evolution is what resonates with readers. A great example of this is Breaking Bad's Walter White. He starts off as a sympathetic character, just a man trying to provide for his family. But as he succumbs to his darker impulses, we watch him evolve into a morally corrupt figure. This transformation keeps us emotionally invested, even as we witness his downfall. Bonus: what is close psychic distance? Before we wrap up, let's talk about a technique that can add even more emotional depth to your character development. Close psychic distance. Close psychic distance refers to how close the reader feels to the character's thoughts, emotions, and sensory experiences. This concept is a tool in narrative style, and it helps determine how much the reader knows about a character's inner world. When we use close psychic distance, we're really diving into the character's headspace, creating intimacy between them and the reader. Let's look at an example. Imagine a scene where your character, let's call her Lily, is walking through a crowded marketplace. At a distant psychic distance, the narration might describe the scene from an outside perspective. Lily moved through the bustling market. She saw colourful stalls around her. But with close psychic distance, the focus shifts to Lily's internal experience. Lily pressed her fingers to the cool stone of the market stall, her heart pounding faster with each step. The dusty red or yellow cloth awnings flapped in the wind. She hated the crowds, every face a blur, every movement a potential threat. The warmth of strangers' breath on her skin made her gut churn, the hum of their conversations a constant buzz in her ears. The second example puts the reader right in Lily's mind, allowing them to experience her emotions and thoughts as if they were their own. This creates a strong emotional connection because the reader feels as though they are inside the character's skin, experiencing the world through her eyes. Close psychic distance is a powerful tool to deepen character development and make the emotional stakes more immediate and personal for the reader. So, whether you're writing a protagonist struggling with self-doubt or an anti-hero facing moral dilemmas, remember that emotional complexity is what makes your character feel real. By delving into their psychology, introducing moral ambiguity, showing their flaws, and allowing for growth, you'll create a character that your readers can connect with on a deep, personal level. Thanks for joining me today on One Chapter at a Time. I hope this discussion on creating deep, emotionally complex characters has given you some new ideas for your own writing. Until next time, happy writing. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.